Hello, it's Sonia here with the Pretty Stitch. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I'm so happy to have you here. So today is Wednesday, and that means it's the Stitch of the Week. So for today's stitch, I will be using my eye hook, or a 5.5mm hook, and I'm going to be using two different colors. So I have this like a gold yellow and this tan color. And we're going to be doing another shell stitch pattern. I love a shell stitch pattern. I just think they're so pretty, and there's just so many different variations of shell stitch patterns, which is really neat. And they're suitable for a variety of projects like shawls, blankets, scarves, clothing, you know, a whole bunch of different things. So this one is going to be like a shell stitch pattern with some puff stitches. So shell puffs, I'm not sure what to call it, or a shell stitch variation. Let's just get into it. Alright, so to do this stitch pattern, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to chain a multiple of 8 plus 2. So why don't we chain 26? So 8 times 3 is 24, and then you add 2 and it's 26. Okay, so I've got my 26 chains. Now, as I said before, I'm using two colors. You don't have to use two colors. It looks nice with just one color as well, but I thought it'd be fun to use two. Alright, so what we're going to do is we are going to work a single crochet in the second chain from our hook. And then we're going to skip 3 chains. So 1, 2, 3, and we're going to work a shell stitch in there. So it's going to be 5 double crochet, and that's going to be our shell stitch. All in that same chain there. Sorry, I wasn't clear about that. So one shell stitch is just 5 double crochet all in the same stitch. And there's just different ways that you can make shells. You know, they can be like the one I have the previous week. I have another shell stitch pattern, and it consists of 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. But as you can see, it looks like a shell. Alright, so now we're going to skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and work a single crochet in the next one. And we're just going to repeat across, working our single crochet, shell, single crochet, shell. So I'm going to skip 3 stitches, so 1, 2, 3, and work my shell stitch in the next one. So you're alternating your single crochets and your shell stitches. So I'm just popping in 5 double crochet in that chain. Alright, so we've worked our next shell. So I'm going to skip 3 stitches, or 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and single crochet in the next one. And we're going to work the shell stitch again. So 1, 2, 3, and work that shell stitch. Alright, and now we're at the end of our row here. So 1, 2, 3, and then in your very last single crochet, very last chain, you're going to work your single crochet. Oh my goodness. So there is row 1. Alright, so let's begin row 2 here. So for row 2, you're going to chain 3 and turn your work. And what we're going to do is right in the same stitch, we're going to work a puff stitch. You're going to yarn over, insert your hook right in that same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. This yarn is splitting on me. Alright, we're going to yarn over again, go right back in that stitch, pull up a loop. So we've got 4 loops, we're going to yarn over, pull through 2. So we have 3 loops on our hook, we're going to yarn over, go right back in there, pull up a loop, and pull through 2 loops. So now we have 4 loops on our hook. So what we're going to do is pull through all 4 of those loops, and there's our puff stitch. So what you're going to want to do next is skip 2 double crochet and then single crochet in the next double crochet. So this is our shell, so what you're going to do is just single crochet in that center stitch. So that would be the 3rd one. And now what we're going to do is we're going to work in our single crochet. So we are skipping the next 2, but we're just going to jump right to that single crochet. So we're going to work some more puff stitches. It's like a puff shell. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into that single crochet, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and we have 2 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over again, insert our hook in that same stitch, pull up a loop. We have 4 loops. We're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over again, go right back in that stitch, pull up our loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So now we have 4 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 4 of those guys. And now we are going to chain 2. And we're going to go right back in and we're going to repeat that puff stitch that we just did. So yarning over, pulling up our loop, yarning over, pulling through 2, lots of yarn overs, yarn over again, pull up that loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So we've got 3. So this is our last time. We're going to yarn over, pull up our loop, yarn over, pull through 2. We have 4 loops, yarn over, pull through all 4 of those loops. So there is our little puff shell there. And we're going to go single crochet into that center double crochet of our shell from row 1. And we're going to work that puff shell again. And now we have our 4 loops, pulling through all 4 of those guys. We're going to chain 2. So in all the single crochets, you're working that puff shell. So the puff stitch, the chain 2, and the puff stitch. Sorry, this yarn is like super squeaky. Sorry, that acrylic. Ooh. All right, we're going to skip 2 stitches and single crochet in the next one. And you're going to keep doing that all the way across. So what you're doing is you're alternating your single crochet, your puff shell, single crochet, puff shell, and then you get to the end of your row. So in your very last single crochet, you're just going to work 1 puff. So I've got my 4 loops. I'm going to pull through all 4 of those guys. So what I'm going to do in this puff, because if I chain 1 and turn, we need to work a single crochet in that stitch. So let me just show you what I mean. So chain 1 and turn. So if we single crochet in this stitch, it's not going to be nice and straight on the edge. So what I kind of came up with to kind of compensate for that, because that would annoy me, is once you work your last puff, just right in this first, you can kind of see how the puff is made up of 3 stitches. So here's 1 right here, here's the center one, and then here's the last one. So in that last one, I'm just going to work a slip stitch, and that's going to help give me that cleaner, straighter edge there. Okay, so now I'm pulling out my second color. Now I've seen this variation of this where every other row is a different color, but I just want to carry my yarn. I don't want to cut my yarn, so I'm going to do 2 rows of the same color. So I'm just going to get my color B here, my tan, pull through that guy, and get ready to go. All right, so for row 3, you're going to chain 1, come on, and turn your work. And we're just going to single crochet in that same stitch. So because we worked that slip stitch, it's just your single crochet is going to be right on the very edge, and that's what we want to help give us that straighter edge. So there we go. And then what you're going to do is we're going to work a shell stitch like we worked in row 1 in the next single crochet. So that's just 5 double crochet. Alright, so we've got our 5 double crochet, so now we're just going to single crochet in that chain 2 space of the puff shell. And so for this row, what you're doing is you're going to single crochet in each of the chain 2 spaces, and you're going to work a shell stitch in each of the single crochets. And then in your very last chain here, because remember we chained 3 to begin this puff, you're going to work your single crochet. Okay, so there's my chain 3. I'm just going to work a single crochet on top of that. So you want to keep that clean edge. So there's row 3. So for this stitch pattern, what you're going to do is just repeat rows 2 and 3 for however long you would want your swatch. So for row 4, that would be the puff row. So I'm chaining 3, turning my work, and working that first puff stitch to begin row 4. So I'm just going to work a few more rows here so you can see how the swatch will look. Skipping my 2 double crochet, single crocheting in the next. So this is a very easy, I think, stitch pattern, but it looks really pretty, and I think it, as I said before, would work in a variety of projects, and it's pretty reversible, which is really nice. So I'm just going to go work a few more rows, and I'll meet you back. So I worked a few more rows, and you can see I added some different colors because I wasn't sure if this 2 colors were really showing off the stitch pattern there. So I wanted to do every other row a different color, so I broke out some green and another tan. So I feel like now that the puffs are popping out a little bit more there. But again, I mean, I think it would look nice in all one color too. You know, it would be a little bit of a more of a subtle look, but I think it would still look nice. And I decided to end on a shell row instead of a puff shell row. But again, I think it's a pretty stitch pattern, and it works up very quickly, and definitely a reversible one, which is always nice. So I hope you enjoyed this stitch of the week, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.